Want to know how much you'll get from old age security? Well, they just came out with a cool new tool to help you figure that out. And they've also whipped up a retirement checklist that's actually really quite good. Now, I don't want to poop on the party too much here, but we should have had this tool a long time ago. This is not complex stuff, but better late than never. And I'm posting links to all of these pages that I'm referencing today below down in the description so that when we're done here, you can go and check them out for yourself. But let's just get right into it. Now, as you'll see, this is a super quick process. It lists out a number of things you'll need to know, but I recommend just diving right in and getting it done. Just plug in your birth year. I'll choose 73, which makes us 50 years old. And then we bounce down to income. Now notice, they are asking you for your net income. So this is your after-tax income. And they tell you to subtract any OAS payments you're currently getting, if any, and also the first $5,000 of employment income and 50% of the next $10,000 of income. Now, you can look this up on your tax return and get as finicky as you want with it, or you can just plug in a reasonably good estimate and save yourself a ton of time. Then plug in your legal status, and that'll take you to your residence history. If you've lived in Canada ever since the age of 18, then just click yes to this. If not, then click no. And this is important because this is where the main formula comes in. See, you are eligible to get full OAS benefits at age 65 if you have lived in Canada for at least 40 years after the age of 18. And so if you haven't lived abroad for more than 7 years, then you're going to get full pop. But if you've lived here less than the 40 years, then you're going to get less than the full amount. And you can figure that out by adding up all the number of years you've lived in Canada between age 18 and 65 and dividing that by 40, or just by skipping all the math, then using this new tool. In this case, let's just say we've been here for 22 years so far. And if we're 50 right now, like we plugged in above, then that'll mean that we'll fall just a bit shy of the full 40 years by age 65, but we'll be close. Now on to marital status. Now the reason it's asking this is to help determine whether you or a spouse could be potentially eligible for guaranteed income supplement benefits. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple and say we're single. And voila, done. If you need to, you can edit your answers on the right. Otherwise, just scroll down for your results. And here it is. In our scenario, we can expect $646.21 per month starting at age 65. Now note this, it says you'll likely be eligible for this and for guaranteed income supplement. They say likely because if you earn over a certain amount in a given year, you can have your OAS benefit reduced or entirely eliminated. And if you earn very little, then you may be able to get GIS. Now I've done a whole deep dive video on these topics, and so I'll just post a link below to that and move on here. Also important to note that these estimates are not adjusted for inflation, so they're in today's dollars. Now, it doesn't say that anywhere that I could see, but I went back to check out the estimate that I would get if I lived in Canada my entire life, and the amount came out to $698.60 per month, which is exactly the same amount that someone would get right now if they were 65 and getting full pop. So just know that the actual amounts that you will receive for OAS will actually be more because OAS is adjusted for inflation, and it's adjusted actually each quarter, so it's set to grow over time. The next section shows you how much you can expect if you choose to delay your OAS benefit. Again, you can watch my deep dive video on OAS to get all the details, but the basics are this. You can choose to delay taking your benefit up to age 70. And for each month you hold off, you will get a permanent increase of 0.6%. That works out to 7.2% increase a year, or a total of a 36% increase if you were to hold off all the way to age 70. And so you can see this mapped out really clearly here. It's not showing you month by month, but you get the general idea, and it gives you enough detail to be able to figure out whether or not you think this might be worth it for you to delay. Scrolling all the way down, we see more details on GIS and the related programs, but since we did this as a single person, we can see that the last two don't apply to us. Now down here at the bottom of this page is where I found out about the Retirement Hub. I had no idea this existed, and it's quite good. There are a lot of helpful sections that you can check out, but I just want to quickly point out my favorite section, the checklist. It starts by having you answer a very short quiz, which I'm just going to fly through to get us to the meat and potatoes, but do know that how you answer these questions will shape the checklist that you end up with. And here we are. In this checklist, it starts with a list of things to do before retirement. What I really like about this is that each of the suggestions has a details section so that you can find out more about it. And many of them have links to more resources or forums or whatever. Super helpful. For instance, this budgeting section not only gives you a link to tips on budgeting, but also to an actual budgeting program that you can use for free. That is actually massively helpful. Cruising on down, we get to the next list. Things to do when applying for benefits. This first section basically lays out everything you need to know to apply for OAS and GIS. Same thing down here for CPP. This is so helpful. There's tons of important stuff in here with links to everything. It's literally a hub. I am so used to being frustrated with nearly all of my interactions with the government that I'll admit I have pretty low expectations when it comes to them, but they are scoring some points here, so bookmark it and use it. The last list here, what to do while collecting benefits, seems like a bit of a filler, but hey, overall, solid stuff. And with that, here's a link to my deep dive video on CPP, OAS, and GIS. Check it out.